and bring up somebody you can trust, and that's your butcher, Dave Bouska from Butcher BBQ. Dave, how are you, buddy?
Hello, Greg. Doing good.
All right, Dave. Certainly appreciate you taking time out for the show tonight. Lots to get to, actually, and we'll go ahead and start. We haven't really had a lot of competition talk tonight, which is fine, but when I can mix it in, I certainly love to do that. Butcher BBQ took second place overall, reserve grand champion at the Smokin' the Fort Barbecue and Bluegrass Festival out in Gibson, Oklahoma this past weekend. So very good finish for you guys, not the grand champion overall, just a few points away, not even a few points, behind Little Pig Town. How did the cook go out for you, and anything out of the ordinary that you had to contend with during the cook?
A lot we had to contend with out there at the cook. Everybody knows we pretty well cook in a big enclosed trailer. Coming back from the Jack Daniels this year, the tongue on my trailer snapped and broke.
Oh.
So in the next 5 days after that, when we got home, I had to dismantle my trailer, pack it on a little 10-foot open trailer, grab the easy ups, chairs, and cook out in the wide open, old school you'd call it, and tended with the 34-degree temperatures, the winds, just like all the other cooks that try to get started and get going. And that was the biggest thing we had to tend with, was doing it old style.
Yes, I mean, so what's it like when you're used to cooking in some type of climate-controlled or at least weather-controlled apparatus like you do, like a lot of those big teams have with with those particular trailers, when you have to go back out, kind of do an open canopy, open grill style in the elements? Is it kind of exciting, or you're like, oh man, I wish I had that trailer?
Well, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I wish I had the trailer. It is great, and you do miss seeing all the people walking by and getting to chit-chat and talk with them. You don't miss the folks walking right up in the middle of your site while you're doing a turn-in and grabbing a rib right off your cutting block. That you don't miss that at all.
Is that something that really happens?
Well, it wasn't a rib, but it was a slice of brisket.
Wow. And so are these other competitors, or are these just people, walking afoot around the area?
No, fancy passerbyers. They was having a taster's choice just up from us, and with us being with a single one cooker, we didn't participate in that. And I guess they wanted to taste a brisket. Heck, if they'd have waited 5 minutes, they could have had all the leftovers, but they were a little quick.
Well, that's what you get when you have the general public roaming around competition areas. And it seems as time wears on, people's tact and couth has kind of eroded away like California's coastline. We're talking with Dave Bouska from Butcher BBQ. All right, Dave, so we look at your turn-ins. Chicken, 13th overall. You get a 164 on that. How did you feel about the chicken as you were running it up to the tent?
It was a real good chicken. We really liked it. We're actually sitting 5th in the nation right now, and we thought this was as good as any that we had turned in. But our chicken this year hinges on not being, let's call it, traditional barbecue. So they either like it or they don't like it at all. And well, they didn't exactly think this was a star of the tent today, this weekend. So I was okay, got what I got.
What are you doing to the chicken that is so out of the ordinary?
It's the way we're finishing it. I have switched, and I actually smoke it and grill it, but it's the sauce that we're finishing it with now. It's a lot different.
Is it the one that you make, or you do doctoring up something?
That what we make is in what I'm using.
Gotcha.
But it's not the main flavor.
All right, so when you were they calling top 10 for categories there?
Yes, they do.
All right, so if you don't get a call, do you immediately go to how bad did we tank, or do you think that it was good enough to maybe where you were just kind of hanging right outside top 10?
Well, the way we've been scoring with the chicken is generally in the 170s, so you think immediately, man, there must have been some great chicken. I hope I'm 168 to 171. That's where it traditionally falls. Well, they got down to first place, and they had announced that this was going to be a 180. Congratulations. And we're sitting there going, wow, man, we hadn't got a 180 in a chicken this year. Well, it was True Bud got the call, and so instantly you think, damn, didn't make top 10.
Dave Bouska joining us here on the show. All right, so you get 13th overall. You move on to the next category. Ribs, so you get a call third overall in ribs, 172.5. How did you feel about the ribs?
Ribs were real good. We had a call out. We were sitting number 1 in the nation on ribs, and True Bud, a team that was sitting in 5th, had called us out that morning on Facebook. Said, we're going to come to beat you in ribs. We're going to beat you in ribs, and we're going to take over the number 1 spot.
Wow.
And I had a couple guys send me some text messages and tell me this, and I know Tim and them, and they're really good guys. They're fun to be around, and so I started joking with them at the side about it. And they beat us. They got second, we got third, so, hey, great cooking.
Absolutely. So, but nice to see, top 10 call there. You get third, so that's probably making you feel a little bit better about not hearing your name in chicken. You get into pork. I would imagine there was another call saying somebody probably got a perfect score in the pork category, Dave.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to get a perfect score in pork.
Wow.
Really liked the way it turned out. We've been real proud of our pork all year long. We've been chasing QAL for Team of the Year in pork. We're sitting second. He's first. Kind of got a behind-the-scene joke about it, him and I do. He's telling me to forget the pork and concentrate on ribs, and I'm telling him I ain't forgetting nothing. But yeah, we got a real good pork call and got a good group of judges that liked it as much as we do.
I would imagine you're using the Butcher's BBQ pork injection in that?
Yes, we do use that also.
Is it straight as is, or do you doctor your own stuff up a little bit for competition?
Now, when it comes to the injections, I use my pork injection. I use white grape juice with peach along with the pork injection.
And that seems to be working out well for results for you guys?
Yes, has done great.
All right, yeah. Well, obviously, a perfect score of 180. Butcher, you get brisket for the final category. And, man, I mean, maybe I'm out of my mind here, but are there a lot of perfect scores going on in this competition or what?
This competition, that's the most I've ever seen in one competition that I've been at. The brisket turnaround, we had second place and had a 177. We thought it was a good brisket. Generally, that's a kiss of death. We got a second place call. Then they announced that, lo and behold, there's a third perfect score in this contest. And we were like, and I had a gut feeling I knew who it was going to be. This little pig town had been on fire all year long. They had barely been missing a perfect score 2 or 3 times this year. So I knew that I was hoping it would be them because they sure did deserve it. They worked hard all year long in brisket.
Yeah, Scott Key and the folks over at LPT doing good things, good people over there too. So good to see them getting that perfect score in brisket. But yeah, I mean, 177 is certainly nothing to sneeze at for Butcher BBQ. So as they're calling overall, you had 3 calls. You took a perfect score in pork, 3 in ribs. You had second in brisket. You don't know where your chicken is at, unfortunately. So, I mean, where does your mind go when you know you have 3 calls? Do you think at this point, as they're calling overall and you're getting closer and closer to number 1, that the chicken has tanked even worse than you thought, or do you still think that you got a chance to win the thing? Well,
I knew it was going to be a run between 3 of us, and the 3 was first, second, and third is how it ended up laying out. And we were as a point difference out of first, and third was a point difference than me. It could have went either way. Any way there was. Grand would have been wonderful. Third place would have been great. We'd won 3 straight contests outside of the Jack.
Yep.
It'd been something else to finish up this year with 4 straight. But, Scott and them cooked some good food. Congratulations.
Dave Bouska joining us here on the show. ButcherBBQ.com is the place you want to go to check out his products and to pick them up again. Great shipping rates that he's been able to kind of knuckle down on our federal government and get us some great shipping rates for consumers. Dave, evaluate your year. I mean, you've been cooking very well. You're high ranked in Kansas City Barbecue Society Team of the Year. How does this year stack up to some of the other ones in recent past?
I feel that I have always worked on consistency, and I think consistency plays out in each category. If you can get the 4 categories to be consistent, that's where you're going to win in the overall. I don't concentrate on just the overall or one category. Like everybody, they look on the consistency, and my whole method is working consistency, from the type of cooker I use to the meat that we use to the process of getting it to the box. I work real hard on getting it to turn out the same every time. How I felt it all has come this year. This has been my best year ever. I've been very happy with where this has come out.
Dave Bouska joining us here on the show. Dave, what kind of a cooker do you use for the people that don't know?
I use 2 FEC 100s.
What do you like best about the cooker?
The simplicity of cooking. I don't know how to say it other than that. The ability to change minor things without having an act of Congress. I can take it to a cook-off if I want. On my ribs and stuff, to use cherry wood. It's as simple as changing the pellet. If it's hickory for the long cooks, I use that. I just like the whole process of it being just a simple, easier cooker to use than worrying about the total elements of Mother Nature.
Dave, let me ask you this question, because I've heard it from a handful of backyard guys and a handful of competition cooks out there, and they say that the pellet cookers especially don't impart a very heavy-handed style of smoke profile on the meats. Is that something that you find as well, and is that really the flavor profile of smoke that seems to be doing better than some of those stick burners that might be imparting more smoke flavor in the judging tent?
I think the smoke is a flavor, okay? I think the best way to cook is cook a good recipe, cook a good flavor, let smoke be a part of that recipe. If smoke has to be their predominant flavor that they're putting on the palate, I personally, and don't want to step on any toes, but I'm going to flat out say it, they need to learn to cook with flavors other than just smoke. That may be why they're not consistent. That may be why some teams will, well, that was our best brisket. We hit, oh goodness, a week ago with that and won first place, and I haven't hit with it since. Well, that's because it's not a consistent flavor. Smoke's not consistent flavor. You've got to get your rub to blend in, a sauce to blend in. It's all got to melt together, and smoke is one of those flavors that they're tasting. Not just the meat, not just the rub, not just the smoke. But if smoke is what's predominant, I don't think that's one-dimensional. I think it's got to impart, and that's what I like about the FEC 100s, is it's a lighter smoke than the others. I get all I need. We've been real good with it. So I don't think that it's too light a smoke. I think it's the right amount of smoke.
Dave, let me ask you this, and I've had people ask me before, because I'll change up wood smoke here and there, and people ask me this question. I don't know if I'm qualified enough to answer it. I mean, I can always give my opinion, but somebody who's on the competition circuit, and you're talking with cooks out there on a weekly basis, can you taste the difference? Like actually physically on your tongue, taste the difference between an apple wood and a hickory wood and a cherry wood if you were to cook with it, and I served you something to eat? Would you be able to pick that out like you could a Pinot or a Cabernet or something else?
No, I can't. My palate